Welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph Labella.
And I'm Ron Sen. It's never boring in sports. Every sport has new information, new challenges. For example, the Bruins. One of their best players, David Pastrnak, and the Bruins are miles apart. Supposedly the Bruins offered him 6, 7, or 8 years at $6 million a year, which there's no way he's ever going to take an 8-year deal for $6 million. And his agent is looking for 8 years and $88 million with the Bruins. No way they're ever going to meet that.
They're going to have to trade him. You know what I would do? I would trade him for I was listening to a sports show, and they said there's some real good defensive. Even though they're getting stronger at defense, you get another top-notch defenseman, with the young defensemen they have now that are really good. You become a team that's tremendous defensively. Then you got to hope these younger players like Petrano and them pop for you. They have a lot of young players that are talented, and that's what I would do. I was listening to a show. There are two teams that are very strong in defense that need a wing, a scorer. So that's what they'll probably do. I'd like to see that, though.
Well, there's no doubt what our biggest topic of conversation should be tonight. The Red Sox and stealing signs. Everybody steals signs or tries to steal signs. I don't understand how at the major league level your signs are not sophisticated enough that people can't steal them. It's baffling.
That doesn't even faze me. As a Yankee fan, they have blown so many games this year. It is unbelievable how the games they've blown. And they were up 9-1 today against Baltimore. They should be ahead of the Red Sox. I've seen most of their games, so they have no complaints. They're complaining about stealing signs.
Well, most of the time, the issue is obviously fastball, breaking stuff. Everybody comes in and throws 100 now, so you could say, I'm going to throw you a fastball, but you still have to hit 100. So.
But in baseball, they say the general managers usually call the other general manager. Tell them to knock that off. This time here, they complain to the league, and the other teams are laughing at the Yankees. Worry about how you've blown probably 20 games this year.
Well, I know that they had the Orioles the other night, and Betances blew it in the 9th inning, which he's really not had as good a year as he is.
No, with him and Chapman?
Yeah.
The Yankees have blown, but they're blown saves, but it's not just them, too. Like, say you're up in the 7th inning, and you end up blowing it. That's blown, whoever came in,
yeah, sure.
Even though they weren't going to close. But they've blown over 20 games this year when you look at the Yankees. Last year, they were 24-12 in one-run games. A month ago, they had lost 21-run games.
Well, the Red Sox fans probably feel the same way about the Red Sox because they go for days without hitting. Okay, you win a game in 19 innings, 3-2. Well, you scored 2 innings out of 17. They scored 2 runs in the 9th and a run in the 19th. What can you say?
But I'll tell you one thing. If the Red Sox fans watch the Yankee games too, they would say, what a difference. It is unbelievable. The Red Sox have basically done the best they can. The way they're hitting, they're not hitting well. They're lucky They got Nunez and Devers, even though Devers has cooled off. But if the Red Sox blew as many games as the Yankees blew this year, the Red Sox fans would be going crazy. It's unbelievable, the difference.
Well, I don't know about you, but I find it hard to watch a whole baseball game. I don't mean 19-inning games.
Yeah, you're right.
Just a 9-inning game. I usually have to turn it in the middle of the game to watch something else.
The only time I watch the whole game is when the Yankees are playing the Red Sox.
Well, the problem is strikeout percentage as percentage outs is higher than ever. So watching guys strike out is not that exciting. And everybody's at a 3-2 count, and they're fouling 2 or 3 pitches off. It's just hard to watch.
But unless you're a true baseball fan, nowadays there's so many kids playing lacrosse and all that. How many of them are real true baseball fans? Like they used to be. But if you're a true baseball fan and you really understand the game and enjoy it, just a pitcher setting up the batters. That's what I look at. I see a pitcher throw a fastball on the outside corner, right? He's going to come inside with a changeup. Or if he comes in fit with a fastball, he's going to come with a changeup. And that's how I watch the games. And I try to outguess them.
Right. Well, a good example now, the Red Sox second best pitcher is Pfister, who, his stuff is okay, but it's not overwhelming. But he's got pretty good control, and he's got a good idea. works guys in and out, up and down, really knows how to pitch.
When you have a good curveball, a good changeup, and you can pop that fastball and put it where you want to, you're way ahead. You don't need to throw the ball 99 miles an hour.
Well, years ago, the Red Sox used to train their minor leaguers. When they started them out, they only let them throw fastballs. And then they said, you have to pitch off the fastball and get people out by moving it around the strike zone. I don't know what their philosophy is now. I wanted to back up to the sign stealing thing because years ago, I had a chance to meet Jerry Moses, who was a relative of a patient. And Moses, somehow the discussion got into stealing signs. And he said the best he ever met was Jim Fregosi, the shortstop who played for the Angels and I believe Texas. And they said Fregosi, if he's on second base, would pick up the sign and he'd be near the bag and he'd either kick the bag or step on the bag to call it either a fastball or a breaking ball.
But how do you, oh yeah, when you're on second, it's a lot easier.
Oh yeah, sure.
You see it, you can pick that up pretty quick. But when you're stealing it from the dugout, and then you got to get it to the, how do you get it to the batter by the time that?
Right, you're going to text, okay.
You can't.
Right, you've got to text it, it's got to be read by the guy on the iWatch, Apple Watch, whatever. And then, I don't know if they were whistling or saying a guy's first name or last name to indicate what it was, but not a lot of time to work with there.
No, and I mean, if I'm a batter, I'm thinking, what if they change the sign? They change the sign, that's why your catchers are going out to the pitcher, because they're changing the sign.
Well, I always wondered if you were the catcher and you just told the batter it's going to be a fastball. I mean, if I'm the batter, I don't want any extra input. I just want to hit. It's the old deal about don't think too much, hit it, go up and hit.
And quickly getting back to the Patriots, when they were stealing signs, when they were recording them, all Mangini had to do was change the sign. And then he goes and squeals on the guy that gave him his job. The reason why he's coaching is because of Belichick.
Right. And it was stealing signs. It's okay to get the signs if you can film them from the end zone, but not from the sideline, which is kind of stupid.
I mean, that was a joke, too.
Right. Well, anyway, the interesting source of new information for the internet crowd is something called BostonSportsJournal.com. Patriots writer Greg Bedard founded this. It was initially started in Pittsburgh. And they have 5 writers. One is devoted to each major team. Bedard does the Patriots, Sean McAdam does the Red Sox, Joe McDonald does the Bruins, and Brian Robb does the Celtics. And then a guy named Chris Price kind of overlaps different areas. And they give different insights with interviews with the players. They give a weekly review. They have a lot of questions and answer segments online with the subscribers. And they charge $35 a year for a subscription. And interestingly enough, in about a month and a half, they've taken in, according to my calculations anyway, about $190,000. So now obviously they've got to pay the salaries, they've got to pay the benefits for these guys, they've got to pay the travel when they go on road games. So we'll see how it goes. But it's an interesting site and they have a lot of unique insights. And because it's a subscriber-driven model, they don't have to be cheerleaders for the team. Like if you watch the Red Sox game, I find it difficult. Dave O'Brien will never say something bad about practically anybody. What do you think about some of the new announcers?
They're not good. None of them are good.
I thought DiNardo has an incredible voice.
But he's a little better than, what's his name?
Johnny Gomes?
Yeah. Johnny Gomes is terrible.
He's got a funny voice. Saltalamacchia, that didn't do it for me.
Where's Eckersley been?
I don't know. Longer term, obviously Eckersley doesn't like to go on the road. I don't know if it's because he doesn't like to fly or he's concerned because of his alcoholism in the past that he might be tempted if he's on the road. Who knows? But or maybe he just doesn't want to do it full time because he's got a life.
Yeah.
But anyway, tonight the special guests for the Patriots were Flo Rida, which I'll embarrass myself. I first heard of this group years ago, and they did Club Can't Handle Me Now, and I asked my kids, I said, what's this Florida group? And they said, Dad. But I don't know if they're going to be singing Welcome to My House tonight, which is one of their big hits. Which
They're going to be singing before the game?
I assume so, because usually there's no halftime show for
No.
this kind of thing. But they're out there. And what do you think about Ezekiel Elliott? Is he going to have to serve the 6-game suspension, although he can play in week 1?
Yeah, he has to serve the 6 games. So I don't know why they're letting him play in week 1.
Right, that doesn't make any sense
That's
to me.
crazy.
Okay. They said there was going to be something special about the banner tonight. Do you have any thoughts on?
Well, they showed what a banner's going to be.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a banner. What can you do that's different about it?
Maybe the way they celebrate it?
I don't know. I think that'll be one intriguing aspect of the presentation.
They'll probably have the Jets going over and all that.
Yeah, I imagine so. Went to the volleyball game yesterday. It was the opening day for volleyball against Lexington. Lexington came highly touted with a 6'2" middle hitter who has a scholarship to the University of Kentucky,
Wow.
Division I school. And Lexington looked really good in warm-ups. Melrose has one of the youngest teams ever. They have 2 freshmen, 6 sophomores, and 4 seniors. And Melrose, Frank candidly went out there and just annihilated them. It wasn't close. It was 25-12, 25-11, and 25-7. And both the Melrose middles were better than the Lexington D1 scholarship player, at least yesterday.
How are they? How's the team? I haven't seen
You
them.
know, I was really pleased with the coordination. I thought the communication on the floor was really good. That was important. I was concerned watching the scrimmage a week ago with Lexington that they might be vulnerable up front as far as blocking, but a surprise emerged. So first of all, they have 4 really good seniors, and seniors provide both skill and leadership. Lily Fitzgerald is terrific as a setter. She's as good as anybody they've ever had.
She's a senior?
Yeah, she's a senior. The 4 seniors are all captains. Jill Mercer is libero. She was terrific. She got tested a lot back there as far as tough calls on the back line. And up front, they have Saoirse Connolly. I always call it Saoirse Spelling Bee Connolly because I can barely spell her name after 4 years.
How was she? She an outside hitter?
She had 11 kills in the middle. She played.
She's a middle hitter?
Middle hitter. She played really well. And Lydia Lombardo hit well from the outside. She didn't have as many opportunities, but the surprise of the day was the sophomore middle, Emma Randolph, who at times she was maybe their strongest frontline player.
Wow.
So Emma's tall, she can really elevate.
She's long.
She did an excellent job blocking as the match went on. And I think that the key to going deep in the playoffs is having 3 hitters. And at least at times, they had 3 hitters with Saoirse, Emma, and Lydia. So, and they have Erin Torpy, who's a very promising sophomore, who's had a reasonable game. And they have an excellent back row defense.
Who's in the back row with Marissa?
With Jill, you have Nicole Abbott, who, I think she's going to be a superstar defender back there. I think she'll be a defender, in the McGinnis mode.
She played the whole off season, right?
Yeah.
Her and Aaron.
Yeah, so they've really improved dramatically. And in fact, one of the parents who shall remain nameless was kidding Emma's parents after the game, saying, "So when are you going to switch Emma to full-time volleyball?" I mean, Emma looks like she could become a dominant frontline
How tall
player.
is she now?
She must be 5'11", and she's got excellent athleticism.
She can jump.
Yeah. So
Did Mary Kate play?
Mary Kate played really well back there. She served well. They've taken a different philosophy on serves. It's going to be none of this, get me in stuff. They were up there ripping it. They had more service errors by a lot, but the back row of Lexington looked shell-shocked.
What have I been telling you for years?
I know.
They got to get rid of that trophy for the better percentage.
I talked to Coach Kelly after the game, and I said, a lot of service errors today. And he said, well, it's about risk and reward. And I have a little notebook I keep in my pocket. I opened up the notebook, and it said risk and reward. So I'm very optimistic about the team. when they played in the Medway play day on Saturday, they played against Newton North, who's ranked 2 in the Globe poll preseason, and I'm told they beat Newton North.
They beat all the teams.
Yeah,
I talked to Mike about it. He was very happy with it. He went down there.
So I think that if you want to see some pretty good volleyball action and a lot of young players, and they have some really excellent athletes in the freshman class who are playing JV or freshmen. So, you know, some people thought that volleyball was going to be gone when Victoria graduated, but it looks like there's a new crop that they're growing.
Well, if they take it serious and they play in the off season,
right?
I know at least Aaron and Nicole did all off season.
Yeah. So it's demanding for players and families because it's expensive, you know, and you got to do travel. Sometimes it involves staying overnight places, and depending on where you play, you may have to go out of state. But the teams that play the most develop the most consistency. But it's very reminiscent of the style of the team that won the state championship. I'm not saying they're there or they're going to get to the Final Four or anything like that. I'm just saying they really control the ball well. They pass well. They have a great setter. So I think there's a lot to be optimistic about watching.
Yeah. What about football? First football games tomorrow night.
Well, they play their annual tip-off game against Masco. Looking forward to it. They always have an exciting team. They've been really competitive, and Danny Ventura picked them in the top 6, I think, in Division 4. There's now 8 divisions.
They could have a special team this year. We talked about it last show, how big and strong their lines are. They're going to dominate the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. And then you hope the backs are stronger. You have Greedy, and you have a couple of other kids who can run. So hopefully they get better. And if that's the case, if their offense gels, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Well, it's a great atmosphere, and hope everybody can turn out and support the home team. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Tonight, for our sports conversation, we have Bill Donovan, former girls basketball coach at Saugus and Pope John. But we're going to start off by discussing the Patriots, who open up tonight hosting Roger Goodell and the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Ralph, what do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be a tough game. You know, looking at Kansas City, they were the second best team in the AFC last year. They lost that tough game to Pittsburgh, and they got talent on both sides of the ball. I heard their safety, a couple of their safety players, starters are bruised. One may not play. The other one is hurting. They're not sure. So, you know, they're going to go down the middle with Gronk in key situations.
Yeah, definitely. And today they put Malcolm Mitchell on IR after losing Edelman. It kind of showed you why they went after Dorsett from Indy when they traded Brissett. So obviously Mitchell's been struggling for a while with that knee. Well, they probably went after Dorsett. So how is all that going to shake out? You know, who's going to try and take Edelman's spot in the slot? Do you throw Amendola in there, who's been a little fragile? Do you try Hogan in there? So it's all, and you know, how do you fit all those running backs in too? So, I mean, it's a nice problem to have, you know, so.
I think a key is going to be, they're not going to want to have Amendola in the slot all year because he's going to get hurt. But they will start with him. I think the key player is Burkhead.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to move him into the slot because not only is he quick, a good running back, he has great hands, and he's very good, runs very good pass routes. I think he could be, no one's going to be an Edelman.
No.
But I think he could be a key. I think he could be better than Amendola in the slot.
Yeah, it could because he's physically a little stronger than Amendola.
And he's very quick.
Yes.
Do you think there'll be much of a circus tonight? Supposedly they're getting Goodell off the field and out of sight early, trying to avoid distraction, so to speak. Barstool's giving out 70,000 of these Roger Goodell clown nose towels. I mean, I think it's kind of low class, and we'd really be better off to let it go.
I'm surprised Kraft didn't stop that. I know he's giving them out outside the stadium, so there's not much Kraft can do about it. But still, I mean, that is,
Yeah,
to me, it's classless.
At this point, I think, speaking for me, I'm a little bit Goodell burned out at this point, you know. I'm excited. It's football season. Let's see that 5th banner go up. We all know they kind of stuck it to Goodell nice by winning the Super Bowl, kind of slap in the face. So let's put Goodell in the back mirror and let's move on. Let's get ready for the game and let's just focus on football.
Do you see any particular vulnerabilities or areas for concern for the Patriots this season?
Well, how are their linebackers going to handle the backs coming out of the backfield? Are they going to be able to handle them? That's going to be a key. Hightower has to stay healthy. Although he got injured last year, they were without him and they had traded Collins away. So, I mean, they usually work it out. What I like about it is sometimes they'll have 6 cornerbacks and 6 defensive backs in the game.
Yeah.
Well, they've really gone to a mostly 3 safety defense because Harmon plays more than 50% of the snaps along with McCourty and Chung.
In row, too.
Yeah, and they've gotten to a situation where there's enough versatility that they can shift those guys around. So McCourty can cover somebody because he started out as a cornerback, and Harmon's maybe their best center fielder back there.
I think you might not see as much of that tonight, where Kansas City's strength really isn't on the outside with a lot of their wide receivers. You know, Tyreek Hill is quick, but maybe you face Green Bay or Atlanta when they can throw 3 or 4 solid wideouts at you. But I agree with you. I think that's a big concern for them. That's where they lost the most players from last year, D-end, outside linebacker. And to me, if you look at the 15 years Brady and Belichick have been there, the area that I hope stays the healthiest, not that we want anybody to get hurt, is the offensive line. You look at their losses in most of their playoff games, the 2 Giants games, at Denver a couple of years ago, against Baltimore at home. When their offensive line plays like a sieve, that's when the Patriots have had the most trouble, which makes sense, you know? So if that offensive line can stay healthy most of the season, and you can keep 12 upright, and that to me is an important part of repeating as champion, if they keep that offensive line healthy.
Well, teams have always wanted to rush up the middle because Brady is not the most mobile guy, although he's elusive in the pocket.
Yep.
But a guy like Dontari Poe on the Chiefs is a big force there. And I mean, we'll see how he does. Andrews has been very effective, although he's a little undersized.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's kind of funny talking about 300-pound guys who
Imagine.
are undersized.
Unbelievable.
But Cannon and Solder are the keys. The Andrews center, the 2 tackles, and Mason's, he's been healthy for 2 years in a row. And Tooney, you know, he had a good year. I'm surprised they cut Karras. Did they take him back on the
Well, he's on the practice squad.
squad? He'll be back.
Yep.
It seemed like he would be a pickup in free agency, but maybe when there's that many players out there, teams just don't have their eye. You can't have your eye on everybody.
No, I mean, how'd you like to be Andy Reid right now? I mean, pick your poison. I mean, do you double team Gronk off the line, and now you got Brandon Cooks, a burner on the outside? Or do you keep a couple of linebackers home because you got Burkett coming out of the backfield or Gillislee coming out of the backfield? I mean, can you rush 7 guys and have man-to-man on the outside and let Brady just pick who he wants? Good luck to Andy Reid.
Well, I expect the Patriots to come out and spread formation and throw the ball.
You think they'll go with
That's-
5 wide right away?
Right, even though one of the wides could be James White or Burkhead.
Well, it's going to be,
Yeah.
it could be White and Lewis, White and like
Right.
Burkhead.
Even a kid like Foster, who's on the practice squad, he was a receiver in Arizona, so he has versatility there if anybody else gets hurt.
Yeah, well, there was some talk that a lot of people were thinking they weren't even going to dress Dorsett tonight. They might dress him now that Mitchell went on the IR today. So maybe they dress Dorsett tonight too. Now you get another burner if they have confidence
Yeah,
in him.
it's not
you
like
know?
he's going to know all the route trees and option routes, but if they want to just send him deep, if nothing else, it's going to clear people out.
Absolutely, yep. That opens things up for Gronk or back coming out of the backfield.
And their running game's going to be exceptional this year. And Gillislee's going to be unreal.
Yeah,
If he stays healthy.
The thing that concerns me is the pass rush, which I mean, they really haven't had a big pass rush, but it seems like they scheme to get rushed when they think they need it.
Yeah,
Well, last year they were getting, Flowers was getting in from the tackle position a lot.
Right.
He was playing inside long. So they may move Flowers out. And Wise, I don't know, is he healthy?
Well, we'll see. They just had him practicing this week, but he had a concussion. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the inactives for today. And then they're very high on the kid, Adam Butler, who was an
Butler's
undrafted
going
player.
to be.
Yeah.
That kid looked
He's gonna
really
be-
active in the preseason
I wonder if they
game.
can play him at defensive end. If they can play him at defensive end, because they're real strong up the middle.
yes.
That play where he came from behind and jumped on the guy.
Quick.
Yeah, he's quick and he's huge.
And my big surprise is going to be Ninkovich is going to be back by the 4th week. You watch.
Yeah, he kind of floated that last night on a talk show, yeah. The other guy you can't afford to lose who really goes under the radar is Alan Branch. He really he set up up the middle, he just clogs up a couple of guys up front, and he plays really well. He opens things up for guys on the outside.
You have him and Brown. Brown now is in his 3rd year, so he should be even better up the middle. Valentin's not playing today. I guess he's injured. I'm not sure. They weren't sure if he was. And Butler, you know, if they have him in the
Guy,
middle.
the free agent they got from Baltimore,
And Lange, was it Lange?
Lange.
Lange, he's doubtful, but they're not sure if he's going to play.
It's really incredible when you think about it. I mean, for 15, 16 years, he's constantly changing this roster. And he pieces it all together with free agents, late draft picks. Granted, he's got the GOAT. He's had the GOAT for a long time now. That helps. But the constant roster change because the salary cap issues, things, and to think that they won the Super Bowl last season and there was $60 million under the cap. It's really incredible the way he does things. It really is. It's unbelievable how good he is. Belichick, obviously.
Well, they're an interesting team because they're different from everybody else in that you never know what you're going to see because they very much tailor their game plan for the unique weaknesses of the other team, which isn't what most teams do. They just say, this is what we do, we do it well, and we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like when you watch those Do Your Job episodes, you see them break down why they do the things they do, and you're sitting there like, they really spend a lot of time going over every detail. It's unbelievable, you know? We've been really fortunate.
Do you have any concerns about Gostkowski, or do you think he's sort of straightened
Well,
himself out?
I try not to worry about him. The only thing I don't like in the last year or two, he's kicking so many line drives, the ball's going like this. Before he used to kick that beautiful, even the 55-yarders, you just get him up in the air, and the ball just go head over.
Yep, he used to be automatic, you know, so.
And now it's like a bullet, and you got to hope it doesn't drift.
And he misses everything to the right. You notice that when he kicks, he loses everything to the right. So.
But I'm not worried about it. He's the least of my worries.
Well,
How's the defense going to adjust to, you know that Smith's going to try to pick him apart
Well, if he can,
with the short game.
if he has to kick 5 extra points a game, things are good.
Yeah, yeah.
The one of the I did not see the newest Do Your Job, but they said one of the issues for last year in the Super Bowl is the Patriots prepared 3 two-point conversion plays where normally they only have 2, and they used the 3rd one for the game-winning touchdown in overtime.
Yep.
He told them to work on them, but Belichick told him to work on them before the playoffs. Work on a couple more. The 1-2 on Amendola they had worked on, but I still say that Seattle game. That's what made him think we got to get better because remember Seattle held them 4 downs in a row.
Right. Well, Seattle's going to be a threat this year.
Yeah, but Atlanta destroyed them. I don't know why everybody's saying Seattle. You hear sports shows today, everybody's saying Seattle because they picked up that defensive lineman from the Jets. But look what Atlanta did to them last year. They killed them in the playoffs.
Well, Atlanta was on a roll last year.
Seattle's one of those teams, you get them out of there, even though they beat the Pats at home last year at New England, you get them out of their stadium and they drop a couple of levels. If you get them outside on grass, away from their stadium, they play at home, they're tough.
Well, it's kind of interesting, despite everything that Brady's done through his career, there's still this cult of Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league, and some people say even more than that.
Oh, Stephen A. Smith loves Rodgers. He thinks he's the best ever. He's won 1 Super Bowl.
I give him mobility and maybe a little bit more accuracy than Brady on the run. But I'll take the guy that wins. I'll take the guy that wins every time.
There's always an argument that goes, well, it's not this guy's fault because he didn't have enough supporting cast. Whereas you look at Brady got to the Super Bowl with, Reshake Caldwell as a wide receiver.
Yeah. So the old thing, make people around you better, So, and Brady does that. This might be the best offensive cast he's had overall since he's been here. He's been.
Oh, it is overall. I mean, if they don't have any more injuries, you don't want to see another person go down on that.
'Cause I'm not expecting David Patton or David Givens to be going in the Hall of Fame anytime soon. Even though they were nice little players, they weren't. I mean, he made them.
Like you said earlier, if the offensive line plays great, strong, they can do just about anything they want. They're going to run the ball well. They're going to have games where they run it well. You're going to have games this year where they gain 200 yards on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, remember when they lost to Denver a couple of years ago? That offensive line was a disaster. Cannon was a mess before, I can't think of his name right now. the offensive line coach, before he came back.
Scarnecchia?
Yeah, Scarnecchia, and they were on like the third and fourth guys at the tackle position and the guard position. They were just so different from the year before when they beat Seattle in the Super Bowl. I think they had like 2 of those guys on the offensive line in that game at Denver, and Brady took a beating in that game.
It's really incredible at a professional level that a position coach can make that much difference. I mean, Cannon is a guy who looked like a revolving door, and then he was second-team
No one
All-Pro
wanted
last
him.
year.
And then when they signed him to that contract, everybody said, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I mean, they saw something.
Yeah, and when they lost to Baltimore a couple of times, even the first Giants game on the Tyree catch, you know, the defense for the Giants, they were in Brady's face the whole game. So if that offensive line can stay intact and keep him upright, to me, that's the biggest key for the season.
Well,
keep him upright.
Belichick's biggest mistake in that Giant game, when Tyree caught that pass, was not going to the hurry up at the beginning of the second half, because he was playing it close to the best. You know, they were in the game. They were up 3. They were down, and then, but when you saw them, when they went to the hurry up, that's when they threw the touchdown pass Brady to Moss.
Yep.
You know, they moved, and half the defensive line they were on the sideline sucking wind. They were tired, and they were breathing heavy, and they had two of the pass rushes were on the sideline. If he started that at the beginning of the second half,
They would have been burnt out.
They would have got burnt out.
No
Right.
doubt.
I can't believe he didn't do that.
Well, the Patriots made the ultimate trade high on Brissett. I mean, the guy has a career game against third stringers, and all of a sudden, he's gone.
Yeah. Well, his history is only keeping 2 QBs, right? That's basically, he's only kept 2 most of the time he's been there. And this tells you nobody knows exactly what his plan is, but Garoppolo's in the plan. Either he has to keep him next year at a high tag, or, you know, Garoppolo will be a free agent. So Garoppolo's coming into some money next year. You know, you got to franchise him if you want to keep him next year. So are you going to pay Garoppolo $18 million, $20
Avocado
million?
ice cream or not, when older athletes lose it, it usually goes really fast.
Really
Yeah, but look
fast.
at the way he looks. He looks
know.
like he's 30.
It's unbelievable,
He's
isn't it?
running faster than he ever did. Remember when he came up?
Yeah.
He was bigger. He wasn't quick. He's quicker now than he was when he was 22.
Well,
I mean, what if he does last until 45? You know, here's my thinking. There were 3 tremendous quarterbacks in college football. The kid from USC, although he didn't have a great game last game, they still scored 40-something.
Rosen.
Yeah. My thing is, they may franchise Garoppolo, trade him to a team for the #1 pick, and get one of those guys. And in 2 years, when Brady's done, you got a top
Bring
quarterback.
him right up. Yep.
that's possible.
I mean, what else are you going to do? You're not going to trade Brady. If he has another
No.
year, if they win the Super Bowl this year, he has another great year, what are you going to do?
Well, I think that people, you see these polls, like what percentage of people think the Patriots are going to go 19-0, and people say stupid, 40% of fans will say, oh, they're going to go, that's crazy. That's never going to happen, especially without Edelman. If they go 12-4 and get a bye in the first round, I'm good with that.
Yeah, we'll take that. Home field, that's the key. Just go into the playoffs with the home field and win a couple of home games, and you're in the Super
That's
Bowl.
the key.
You don't want to go on the road in the playoffs. You
And
just don't want to.
You want the defense to be as good as they were last year with the backs they have, and they got real good backups too.
They do.
I mean, they're real solid back there, and they're a team that sometimes only uses one linebacker in passing situations.
Yep.
So, the linebacker, you want guys like Hightower to stop the run, and you want the big guys to control the line of scrimmage. But again, the key is the backs coming out of the backfield. At that time, if it's first or second down, you might have 3 linebackers in the game. They've got to be able to pick them up.
They have to, and that's a key for a lot of games.
I mean, Roberts is good against the run.
Yep.
Even though he's small and quick, he's better against the run.
Yep.
But maybe he's getting better. This will be his second year getting a lot of playing time. And Van Noy, he's supposed to be better pass rusher. So,
Well, we don't have to wait long to find out.
but I think it's going to be a great game tonight.
It's going to be a great game.
I hope it isn't. I hope they blow him away, but I
Yeah.
think it's going to be
Usually
a
his
great
teams
one.
are pretty prepared.
Well, the
Andy
Patriots
Reid's
have
teams.
covered the last 8 games, and the spread is the Patriots -9. So we'll see if Vegas is right again. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Isaiah Thomas wrote about his journey on the Players' Journal, he said he got a text from Danny Ainge to call me back. And the first words he heard were, "I just traded you." And he said, "For whom?" He said, "For Kyrie." So Isaiah talked to his sons, and his oldest son said, "You mean you get to play with LeBron?" So he wasn't exactly crying. He said his younger son was more upset about having to move. But you have to give something to get something.
Well, Isaiah was very upset that he was traded. He wanted to stay in Boston. You know, he wanted to be here till the end of his career. He wanted to do something special. He knew they had Hayward, two real good young players, Horford. He thought they could do something. He was a talk of the town, wanted to be known in high regards as Brady and Ortiz, you know, and he was hoping to be able to do that. He loved the situation here, played free basketball. He's not going to play free basketball with Cleveland. You know, at times, you know he's going to go head-to-head with LeBron at times. But Cleveland will be all right. It's going to be a battle, but I wouldn't put Cleveland as a favorite, especially with Isaiah hurting.
Right. There are obviously two issues. Isaiah was in the last year of his contract. Number two is that he has a serious injury with labrum tear, which, as you might suspect, a labrum tear does not go away. It's damage to the supporting structure around the hip, and he has so-called impingement, where the ball of the hip joint is misshapen, and in some way that interacts with the labrum to put stress on that area, leading to the tear. Now, if you look at a list of players in the NBA who've had that injury and are still playing productively, there's only one that I see on the list, is LaMarcus Aldridge. And LaMarcus Aldridge's game is not anything close to what Isaiah's is. So I think it's a serious injury. If somebody told me that he didn't play at all this year, I wouldn't be shocked. So, and the third thing is, obviously Isaiah was looking to, quote, back up the Brinks truck. If you miss most of the season with an injury, you know, and I'm going to predict he's going to play less than half the season, then you're not going to get paid, and there's going to be hard feelings about the money.
Yeah, in his first year under the new contract, if the Celtics did give it to him, he'd be turning 30 years old.
Yeah.
So you're going to give a guy a max contract when he turns 30 in basketball with a bad hip?
Yeah, so we are not bad-mouthing. He was fantastic last year. He was second-team All-NBA. He is one of the most beloved athletes in the city, considering he hadn't really been here that long. And he's a guy who's made a name as the last draft choice in the NBA draft. So, you know, how can you not wish the guy well? He seems like a great guy. He's a productive guy. He was willing to take the big shot. 53 points in a playoff game. I mean, remarkable story. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a business, and Uncle Drew is quite the player. So,
If the Brooklyn pick is the #1 pick, they made out in the deal. If they're going to get Porter, and they'll have him for the next 13 years, he'll be one of the top players in basketball. But if it is not, you got to look at this trade. Here's what you got to look at. You know, the people that really look at the Celtics and are real Celtic fans, basketball fans, they had to go further than they did last year. All right, Isaiah took them there. Okay, Isaiah took them all the way there. But to go further, they had to upgrade at the 2, the 3, and the 4. If you're going to upgrade at the 2, 3, and the 4, which they've done, okay, with Hayward, Brown, and either using Tatum or Morris at times, they have upgraded. Morris, a 38% three-point shooter, can hit the 2-point jump shot. He'll bang on the boards. He's aggressive, little mean. They've upgraded. At the 4, not as much as the 2 and 3. So when you upgrade at the 2 and the 3 and the 4 now, you still have Isaiah. If you still have Isaiah, Isaiah's now got to become a 22 points a game scorer. He can't score 29 with that talent. He can't play the same way he did last year in the fourth quarter, looking at his wrist, his watch. So it's fourth quarter time, all right? You're playing with Hayward. You're playing with a better Brown. You're playing with Tatum. You're playing with Morris. You're playing with real good basketball players. You've got to become the point guard, which Ainge has already talked to Irving about. We don't need you to score 28 points like Isaiah scored. We need you to be the best point guard in the league. If you become the best point guard in the league, which means distribute the ball, hit the key shots, play very good defense at 6'3", not 5'8", work on your defense, which you know he's going to. If he becomes that point guard that he wants to be, and that Stevens wants him to be, now the whole team gels. You got Isaiah back there, who's great, with the team he had last year, but they had to upgrade those positions. If they weren't, they weren't going to go any further. Now they have a chance to go further.
Well, I saw this NBA show and with a lot of Hall of Fame players, and they basically said, what makes you a star in the NBA is your ability to draw two players. Because once you draw two players, that leaves somebody else alone. And now they have more talent. You can't leave Hayward open for wide open shots, Horford for wide open shots. And obviously Kyrie is, I don't know if there's anybody better than he is handling the ball. I mean, he's one of the top 3 point guards, terrific scorer, a good outside shooter. And if he wants to be a leader in Boston, I presume he's going to play more defense than he's played. When guys have that much talent, it's not because they don't have the ability to play defense. They may not have chosen to play as much. So when IT said, I don't see how the Celtics have gotten better, I mean, that's just hard talking. So yes, they've lost Bradley. Smart has lost 20 pounds, which is a 20-pound lighter Smart is going to be that much quicker. And it sounds like he's going into a contract year. He wants to get paid, but he's not a guy who talks money. He's a hard-nosed player.
And Rozier's going to be real good. This is his 3rd year.
Right.
You know what happens in the NBA? Players like Rozier showed a lot better in the playoffs last year, playing with real good players. You play with a guy like Hayward and Kyrie, but especially Hayward, his knowledge of the game is unbelievable. I put him ahead of Butler and George. Right now, I definitely put him ahead of Butler. People saying you're crazy saying he's better than George. He's a better all-around player than George because he can bring the ball up and distribute. He's very smart, cuts off picks really well, not lazy, And you got to play a guy that smart playing with Horford, who's very smart, and Kyrie, who's very smart, and you got Brown and Tatum.
Well, they have a lot of talent, and they have, obviously the guys they have are guys that want to be here, and which is not to say that Isaiah didn't want to be here. And they have Brad Stevens, who should be able to put these guys in position to succeed. So I think, like you said, they went as far as they could go last year. They could play Cleveland 100 consecutive series, and they're not going to win any because they just didn't have enough talent to beat them.
No.
So at the end of the day, it's a make or miss league. It's a talent league. Coaching matters, but they did what they have to do to try to get farther than they went this year.
And look at the other players they have. That Larkin's a good player. I mean, they're going to be 10 to 12 deep with players that can play the game. That kid Bird that they signed, the kid from California.
Yeah, he's like the 15th guy.
I'll tell you, he can play. And then Nader's another guy who's going to be deep in the bench who can come in at 6'5", play tough defense. He knifes to the basket really well. Kid from SMU. Ogilvy. He can hit the three-point shot. He's 6'7.5", very physical on defense. So, and then you got Morris and you got Baines. Baines is a banger. The Celtic fans are going to love him. You put him in a game, he's going to live on the offensive boards.
Yeah, so, so many games that if you watched last year, other teams would miss, they get another rebound, they'd have 3 or 4 second shots. They've got to be able to contain that.
Right.
I mean, I think Baines will probably start at the 5 and Horford at the 4, and they'll have Hayward maybe at the...
Either that or Morris at the 4 and Horford at the 5.
Yeah,
And then
Horford
bring
doesn't like to play 5.
Then bring Baines in for Horford, let him play the 5, and then Horford will come in for Morris. But then you're going to go with Tatum and Brown at the 3 and the 4.
Right. Well, you've got
Hayward.
You got a lot of options, and the talk, of course, these days is positionless basketball, so you can switch on the perimeter, so you don't give guys open 3-point shots. And that's what their philosophy is going to be.
And what they have this year is they have 2 stars, in Irving and Hayward, and you got 2 potential stars and a couple of very good basketball players.
Yeah, Tatum was a revelation in the summer, and he's got a very mature game for a young player. He's kind of skinny. Hopefully he's in the weight room.
He's long, though, and
Right.
he's athletic.
Well, we'll switch gears, talk a little bit about the Red Sox, who, despite the warts they have, which is predominantly not scoring runs, are still 3.5 games ahead with, I think, 22 games left to play. The projections are over a 99% chance they're going to make the playoffs. If the season ended today, they'd end up playing Cleveland in the first round, and Cleveland's been, talk about on fire, they've won 14 games in a row, so Terry Francona's continuing to have great success, not surprisingly.
You're going to have to give Seal a rest too. Remember last year with some of those other
Porcello, yeah.
pitchers? I mean, Seals, you can see he's getting worn down a little. Give him rest now. They're going to beat the Yankees. The Yankees blow, seems like almost every other loss they have, they blow the game. And even though the Yanks have talent, they have a good starting five now. The bullpen is pretty good, especially with Robinson there now. But the Yankees got more power than the Red Sox, and when they're healthy, if they gel.
What happened to Hicks?
Hicks hurt his labrum again, whatever. No, his
Ribs?
he tore something. He was out for a while, then he re-injured it.
I like him
So
a
he's-
lot.
when he reached for the ball, somewhere in here he strained something.
So the player who's really been indispensable has been Nunez coming over.
What a move that was.
I know. He was doing okay for the Giants. He was hitting .300 with no power, but that might be a function of the Giants stadium, which is pretty hard to hit home runs in. But he's been playing all over the place. He filled in for Pedroia, who's back. He's filled in at shortstop. Bogarts obviously is still hurt. I don't know why they made him play through injury. I mean, maybe he just wants to play, but he's swinging the bat one-handed half the time.
Well, you know this too in baseball, we talk about it. Sometimes when you get tired, you get worn down a little, you're not as quick with your bat. And that's what happens to him every year, it seems, at the end of the year. I've said all along that they should have a system where they send someone down to Florida and just tell them to rest for a week and then come back up. Give them a break.
Oh,
I mean, you're playing in the summertime when it's 80 degrees every day, or at night it gets down in the 70s some places. And you're playing almost every day, you're going to get worn down. And you play in baseball, if you get a little tired, you're not as quick, you're not on the ball as quick. Early in the year you are, and then as you get tired. So sometimes it's good to give them a break.
And we talk regularly about if you watch baseball every day, you see something that you never see, like a 19-inning game, which of course hardly. I had a patient come in today and said, a really older woman said, "Hey, I stayed up to watch the whole 19 innings." Maybe when you're in your 90s, you can stay up to watch baseball. I don't know.
How about that day, right? I'm watching the Yankees. They're up 6-1.
Oh yeah.
Right? They blow it in the ninth inning, Botances. The Red Sox are down 2-0 in the ninth. I went to bed, I figured that the Yanks are going to be a game and a half behind. Instead, they go to 3.5 behind. Because the Red Sox win, the Yankees blow it.
Well, and the Yankees took advantage. They were able to win 3 out of 4 of the last series, which they deserved it. The Red Sox didn't have any kind of clutch hitting at all, and the Yankees showed good pop. Had a bunch of home runs. Judge had a garbage time home run. Sanchez looks like he's pretty good. I mean, still has power. His catching skills aren't great.
He's got a powerful arm.
Yeah, he's got a great arm.
But the thing with Sanchez is if he learns the strike zone better, he could be unbelievable. He swings a lot of curveballs in the dirt. If he can just learn to stay off that.
Now, we didn't talk about this, but what do you think about CC Sabathia's, like, what are you doing bunting on an old guy with a bad knee comments?
Here's what I think. If I were playing...
You'd have 9 guys in a row bunting on him.
No, if I were playing, I wouldn't be bunting. If it was meant my team going to the World Series, or near the end of the year, if you needed that game really bad, then of course you're going to do whatever it takes. But that's my thinking. Even though you're playing pro ball, the guy's had a bad knee. Why do you think the Yankees called the league about stealing the signs?
Yeah, but what?
It goes back to stuff like that. And everybody says that he's a baby.
Well, if Malcolm Butler had a sore knee and couldn't run, do you think that Kansas City wouldn't throw at him every down?
Oh, yeah, they would.
So, or any other player. In sports, people are always trying to take advantage of the other team's
But
weakness.
another thing, too, is it was a terrible bunt.
Well, if the
He
Red
gets
Sox,
the bunt and he throws it wide. He had the guy dead if he hadn't dead it for us.
if the Red Sox could hit a little, they wouldn't have to bunt. But
You know what he should have
Anyway.
did, CC? He should have kept his mouth shut. Next time he get up, drill him.
well, I just don't believe in these baseball.
Martinez would have.
These baseball unwritten rules. If the guy swings hard, you're supposed to be up and swing hard.
How about Pedro, though? He used to drill you for doing whatever. If that happened to Pedro and he had a bum knee and he just came back and they bunted on him, next time up he was going to drill you. Not high.
Well, Walter Alston was coaching for the Dodgers, and Don Drysdale was pitching, and Alston went out and says, I want you to intentionally walk the guy. So Drysdale hit him with one pitch and just said, why should I walk him and waste 4 pitches?
I think the guy that should have got thrown out of baseball or suspended for the rest of the year was Clemens. When Piazza had 2 home runs off him, next time he gets up, he drills Piazza in the head. Right there, I would have suspended him for the season. You don't throw at the head.
Well, Nolan Ryan was another guy who,
You
threw
make that
at
known.
guys a lot. Doug Griffin, the Red Sox anemic hitting second baseman, for some reason he could hit Nolan Ryan. So he hits Griffin in the head, and they come out and they're talking to Griffin saying, are you okay? And they give him some questions to answer. They want you to subtract 7 from 100 and then 7 from that. And Griffin says, I couldn't do that before I got hit in the head. So, but,
That's dangerous, though.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's great that the players have more protection than they did back in the day. Obviously, Tony Canigliaro is the name that stands out here, Kirby Puckett, Paul Blair. There have been plenty of good players who got hit in the head. And, it's a tough thing to stand up there and face 9,500-mile-an-hour fastballs coming at your head.
Yeah, how are you going to get out of the way nowadays the way they throw the ball?
Right.
And then if it tails in on you, forget about it.
Yeah, I think most of the time when the pitchers hit guys, they're not throwing at them. The ball moves and the guy just happens to be in the way. So, I mean, you can tell pretty much when the guy hits him in the backside or in the back, then you know that, for example, if a right-handed hitter hits a left-handed batter in the back, he's throwing at him because you just can't do that normally, the way the ball moves. So, who's your favorite player in baseball these days?
Oh, Judge.
Okay. No, I mean, Judge has had a lot of struggles the second half of the season, especially with strikeouts, but he's going to make adjustments. He's got a ton of ability.
They're working on it now. They have his hands a little lower, but he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He said that about buying a house when he had 30 home runs first half of the year. He goes, listen, this is my first year. He goes, nothing's set yet, he knew, but he's got to get mentally ready, prepared better. I think he stands there with the bat back too long. Like he'll get there, when you're batting, you got to stay loose. You can't grip the bat tight. You're going to be too stiff. You're not going to be able to jump on a fastball. You want to be loose with your hands, and he doesn't check swing. You watch the real good hitters. A lot of them will come here when the pitcher's ready to go in his windup. Then they'll come back and they'll coil, and they'll be there for like 1/10 of a second, and then they'll snap. He's there stiff. If the pitcher takes 10 seconds, he's there with the bat back for 10 seconds. You're too stiff there. And a lot of times he doesn't get around on the fastballs. You see a lot of a lot of pop-ups go fouled on the right side because he's not quick enough. So hopefully, maybe they'll listen to these. Maybe they'll listen to this show.
Well, I think it's Houston's year. They're going to recover from the hurricane, and the Astros are going to win the World Series. Dodgers can't trust them.
What about Arizona?
Well, Arizona's really hot, but I think that the baseball gods are going to line up and give it to Houston this year. I've enjoyed being with you tonight. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph Labella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.